So there you go, life's like that.
Yeah. So then you started to do these seminars about waking up, I think weekend seminars about waking up. And then I want to, still got a few minutes left. I wanted to talk also about, I know this is a CD I'm holding up here, but it's the talking soundtrack of Lucid Living, which is a book that's, I know, very important to you. I think it really contains your thinking, or the way you feel you can be helpful to people. So let's just talk us through Lucid Living for a few minutes.
Well, what's happened, since then, this was a long time ago now, that, I had the experiences with Ramesh and all of that, and it opened up the experience of oneness. But bizarrely, I went back to see Ramesh very briefly the next day, and at the end, I said something a bit stupid, really. I said to him, what should I do now? Because once it's like, what do you do? Given his whole teaching was there's no one to do anything, it was a pretty dumb question, but he just smiled at me and went, I'll just go home and have a family. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to do that, because that was never on my agenda. But that's exactly what happened. I went home and I had a family. Yeah. And ironically, it opened up a whole new level of the journey for me. When I had my kids, I realized how important the separateness, my humanity was. And what I'd been experiencing was how important my divinity was, if you like, or the oneness is, the big mind. And then suddenly it felt like, that Advaitic thing which had hooked me in, there was something cold about it. There was something which wasn't, it had freed me from this attachment to the separate self, but in some way now it was pushing away the personal. There was a lack of this big love, which was so important to me. And the journey felt so, this feels so full, this is not some mistake. It's too beautiful, it's too poignant, it's too transformative. And I was looking for something which honored the both. And what I've done in my later books, which I feel is really where it's all been heading, and it's the contribution I can make, is a way of seeing this which enables you to honor both this deep oneness, where there is no separateness, and the fact that I'm Tim, and you're Iain, and we're meeting here. And that is also the way it is. And the image for me is lucid living, because the waking state, the best way to describe it, the way it's always been, really, is like lucid dreaming, but now. So just like in a lucid dream, I'm aware that I'm in two places at once. Here's what I appear to be in the dream, and then there's this deeper place where there's one of us, which there's one awareness which is dreaming this whole great pageant of life, and then meeting itself in all these different shapes and forms. And why that image is so important for me is, when you dream lucidly, you don't wake up. You're still dreaming. And when you enter this awakened state, life doesn't end. There's still life, and that's important, because but we're living consciously, we're living lucidly. So there's this place where there's one of us, where everything just is, where nothing is changing. And then there's this place where it's always changing, and we're separate, and we're conscious, and we're individual. And for me, it's about honoring all that I am. So now I find myself, when I go around, do my seminars and go around the world talking and as a philosopher, more talking about the separateness even than the oneness. Because it feels like, let's not wake up from this and ignore this. Let's wake up to this and then bring that love into this so that we can meet here as separate and not separate. We're both one and we're individuals at the same time. And both of those poles are important. So now the key concept for me isn't oneness. It's polarity, which is again very ancient, yin and yang, all of that. It's polarity. A polarity is both two and one at the same time.
Because the separation is an expression of the oneness, isn't it?
Precisely.
If there's oneness, there's oneness.
Yeah.
There's not oneness here and then separation. It's either oneness or it's not oneness.
Absolutely. And also just this, look, the mind, the big mind, to use the Zen phrase, the one awareness, God, whatever you want to call it, without the dream is unconscious. That's where we go every night in deep sleep. The Gnostic Christians, who I've written extensively about, they call it the dazzling darkness. If you imagine a universe which is just light, with nothing for the light to reflect on, it's dark. And in the same way, awareness without anything to be conscious of, without any separateness, is unconscious. So we go there every night. And it's all one in deep sleep. You just don't know it. You don't know anything. You're not conscious. There's no you, there's no me, there's no anything. It just is, but it doesn't know that it is. The thing about what happens in this state is that it knows that it is, because it's taking a perspective on things. It's individual, it's conscious. Everything is divided up. Look, hands, trousers, jacket, you, me, up, down, in, out. Everything's separate, and therefore we're conscious. Now the problem is, the good thing about this is it's making us conscious. That's what happens every morning.